The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is presented by Bush.
It's all good when you can get the world's greatest bass fishermen battling it out to see who's best. It was definitely good at round one of the Elite 50 series. The top 50 anglers from the Citgo Bassmaster Tour at Arkansas's Lake Dardanelle, providing plenty of fireworks and a colossal battle for the top spot early on. Yeah. On the final day, it soon became a two-horse race on the special championship course. The Rookie of the Year, Greg Hackney, put on a furious charge.
Stay hooked up, baby. Stay hooked up. Look at there. Whoa. Come here. Come here. Whoa. Whoa. That's what I'm talking about. Whoa. Godzilla ain't got nothing on me right now.
But it was Alabama's Randy Howell, searching for his first Bassmaster victory in 9 years of competition, who took first place and top points.
15 pounds and 9 ounces! Randy Howell, your champion!
Randy left event one of this 4-event series with top points. For event number 2, we come to the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway in Mississippi and start fishing again. The Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway, dedicated in the 1980s, runs the eastern edge of Mississippi for more than 200 miles. But this week, our anglers have been limited to a 75-mile stretch near Columbus, Mississippi. Last week's winner, Randy Howell, showed up at the 10-Tom with an aluminum boat and a jet drive. Determined to get through some skinny water and into cutoffs and oxbow lakes he thought would produce some big fish. A few others followed suit, but mostly it turned out to be not worth the trouble. Randy Howell did not make the 12, who'll fish for the championship. But some veteran stars did shine. After day one and some very slow fishing, the leaderboard showed former Classic champ Davey Height in 3rd place. Roland Martin, the perennial star with the endless career, in 2nd. And another former Classic champ and Angler of the Year, Mark Davis, catching 14 pounds, 8 ounces to take the early lead. And if you thought he was showing off on day one, check the day 2 effort from Davis. 18 pounds and 13 ounces, a dream day that started off slowly for the man who's already won once this year on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour.
Late in the day, about 3 o'clock, they started biting, and I had probably the best fishing day I've had since I won Table Rock. 3-pound bass every cast.
Davey Height was, if not as spectacular, then certainly solid with another 10 pounds and a 2nd place slot in a bit of a comeback year.
Well, last year got me fired up when I stunk up the whole year, you know. And this year I had a decent year, you know, made a Classic, finished 12th overall, won Horizon War, so back on the right track.
Boy, it has been a bounce-back year for Davey Height, including winning the Horizon Award this year for the most improved angler. There he is at 2nd place, but look at 1st place. Mark Davis has outfished his field of the top 50 anglers in the world by 11 pounds over the first 2 days, and he's going to lose every ounce of that. We'll explain more about that in just a moment as we look at the rest of this field of 12 anglers who have fished this 3rd day here on our special course. I'm Tommy Sanders along with Jerry McKinnis. And Jerry, I know you love the course concept, and I know you like this course a lot.
I really enjoy the concept, and I think that the Columbus Pool is going to be very interesting. Of course, our 50 anglers began fishing probably 75 miles of the Tombigbee Waterway. Now we've cut to 12, and we're condensing the field, putting them in Columbus Pool. So we're going to take our course and divide it up into 6 different holes, and every angler will have an hour and 20 minutes in each hole before they rotate. Now, Tommy, as we said, cut to 12, who will start from 0, and there will be 2 anglers in each hole.
All right, we're 0 in the score, and I should point out that we're covering 7 out of those 12 today, so all our scores are unofficial with regard to the full field there. What kind of techniques are we going to see in this new fishing hole for these guys?
Well, I think we should ask them.
I'm probably going to throw a Danny Brower Pro Model jig and a Denny Brower flipping tube.
There is some wood cover, and we may want to be fishing a little bit. If we come to a log or a stump or a tree, we'll fish some of that stuff too. I saw a couple of patches of timber that I'll probably try throwing my crankbait around a little bit, maybe pitching a tube or a worm around the base of those trees.
Each hole, you've got to kind of piece it together pretty quick. So I'm going to use the lures that I feel real confident in. The water's kind of stained.
I still have to fish my strengths. So I really feel that I'm going to probably end up fishing a plastic bait on a flip stick and a jig are going to be my two go-to baits. I do have a tube tied on for a backup, but I'm going to try to really I think the angler that's going to win this event is going to be the angler that figures out how to catch them out of the green grass.
All right, 2 anglers reporting to each one of our 6 holes. Remember, we're going to start at 10:20, so these guys are making their run right now. They may have to sit and wait for a little bit.
And I'm guessing that our whole course is maybe a 3 or 4 mile square course, a little bit smaller than the course on Dardanelle. And there is a lot of shallow water in there. These guys have got to be very, very careful. And Kevin Van Dam is waiting for the start time right now.
It's brutal for a guy as antsy as me. I got to jiggle just to get it out of me. Do my practice motions here. Oh, yeah, we got about 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
There it goes. That's a better one. Oh, we came off. Golly. 3-pound fish. Swam out of there with this bait.
Well, keep your eye on Alton Jones today. We fished this format at selected tournaments during the tour season last year, and Alton just happened to win the one up at Clear Lake, California. That was a big fish event. This is a not-so-big fish event.
And I tell you what, I'm feeling a lot better, Tom. You know, we've been looking at this course for 3 or 4 days, and we are now sure that there's a fish in it.
There's number 1. Not a big keeper, but he's a keeper. He hit the booyah jig. I tell you, you know, I can get more bites probably throwing a worm or something, but I want to keep myself in position to catch a 4-pounder. And I'll throw a worm if I have to, but that booyah jig will get me a big bite sometime today, I think.
Deep water is a rare commodity on this waterway, and there's some deep water just real close right here on this point. Just a perfect little easy up and down place for the fish, you know, in the hot summertime, to ease up on this point, feed, then go back out. All righty, baby. There's one. Start off.
For Davey Hyde and Alton Jones, a good quick start to the day. That's what you want. Let's talk for a minute about the stage that these fish are in this waterway, Jerry.
Well, obviously they are done spawning. As a matter of fact, we got some 80, even 85-degree water out there. That's pretty hot for this early, but we have had some really hot days. However, the fish, and a lot of them anyway, are in the shallow water, and they're very close to that grass.
It was a lot better. He was underneath that stump.
Kevin Van Dam certainly on the top echelon of superstars in the world of bass fishing. Won his first Classic back in 2001 down in New Orleans. Mark Davis also qualifies. The only guy to ever win Angler of the Year and the Classic in the same year. Did that in '95.
Well, Tommy, does that mean we have some slouches out there in the E50?
No, not really. They're all pretty darn good.
You know what? They are very good. But the thing that occurs to me is that we've got a group of guys that are great fish finders, and that's what is so important with this format. You not only have to catch them, you have to find them, and you have to do it in a hurry.
Bit of tail off. Not a good sign that it was a very big one. Oh, I forgot, the ones that you miss or the ones that get off are always supposed to be big, aren't they? That was like a 7-pounder. I saw him boil at it and just missed him. He barely got the tail. God, with that one, I'd really be right there. Probably be leading this thing. God.
Davey Hyde having a little fun today. We'll check on Stacy King and Gary Klein next.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Bush. By Peter. And by Yamaha.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail presented by Busch. This is the Elite 50, our 4-event series. This is event number 2 on the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway in Mississippi.
Oh, and a bad start for Mark Davis here. I tell you what, whenever I think of Mark Davis, I think about how popular he is. You know, at the weigh-ins and the takeoffs, everybody wants to gather around Mark and talk to him. He's such a good guy to be around.
Man, he came out of there so fast. Never caught up to him.
Over to Gary Klein's got a fish on. He already has 1 fish in the live well.
Boy, what a great flipper he is. We always talk about him being such a, you know, the word that always pops up to me is warrior. He's just so focused, so tough. And he's going to catch that fish, you watch.
Yeah.
You're talking about a fish laying right by a thick clump. This thing about having 65 spider wire stealth.
65-pound test if you need some tow rope. See Gary Klein later on this week. You'll just picture right up. As we end our first period of fishing there, you see Stacy King moving on, ready to go to his next area. And take a look at the leaderboard right at the top there. Kevin Van Dam and Mark Davis, those two tied up with Gary Klein right behind him. That's an all-star leaderboard.
Boy, all-stars. A little bit of justice there with Mark Davis on top.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? These holes aren't as big on this course as they were on Lake Darnell. At least it doesn't look that way. However, I believe there's probably more productive water in each hole, and I'm sure the anglers like that a lot. Hey, 1 round, we can't tell a whole lot, but there was 7 fish caught on the course with our anglers, 2 from number 3, 2 from number 1.
All right, we see Kevin Van Dam now moving from 1 to 2, and he's going to start fishing a crankbait, it looks like.
Fishing a crankbait right in the middle of the timber, which is a little bit unusual. Haven't seen that on the course so far today.
There is a good one, too. That's the kind right there. That helps big time. Suspended in the timber. Interesting. Davey's over there in the next hole doing the same thing.
Kevin Van Dam, he's in hole number 2. He's talking about Davey Height, who's over the boundary line over there in hole number 3. Now let's go to hole number 4 and Stacy King.
Oh, I missed him. Dadgummit. Huh, bit the tail off my worm. I bet he was a big one. I bet that was a little bitty devil. I got him. He's a good one. Come on, baby, come here. Come here, come here. Come here, come here. Get down, get down. Yes, number 2. How about that? I threw in there. I felt one ticket. I set the hook, missed him, come back. He bit about that much of my tail off. I went ahead and threw it back in there and whack, he grabbed it, got it. I mean, anytime you get the clouds moving in, a little breeze like this, it's going to help as hot and still as it's been, you know. So I'm hoping that, you know, I can find a few more little key pieces of cover like this that's got some fish on it before I get back around to the other side, because I know the last couple of holes is going to be pretty much all pitching in that grass. There he is. That's a big one. That's a big one. Come on. We'll get him around. Oh, get down. Get down. Come here, baby. Come here. Come here, come here, come here. Easy now. Oh, I got her. Whew. Thank you, Lord.
Let's go over now to Mark Davis, the man who won that event we referred to on Table Rock Lake. Believe it or not, that was Mark Davis's first Bassmaster win, regular season win. Of course, he'd won the Classic before, and here he is now trying to win his second event in the same year.
And of course, he's trying, all these guys are trying to establish a pattern. And establishing a pattern is, and he's got a really good fish on right there, establishing a pattern is catching one fish and then duplicating that throughout the day. You know, let's be honest. You can catch one fish and it could be lucky. But when you start catching 2 and 3, then you know what? You are starting to establish a pattern. You start establishing a path that you can get on and be productive all day long.
That's what we was looking for. Got to have depth. I ran all over this hole, and I finally found a little area here that's got the right kind of stuff. You get a bite.
This is exactly how I fished all week. Stop for 30 seconds and fish what looks good. And don't waste your time on the nothing stuff. If it doesn't look like a 4-pounder is going to live there, go on.
Well, Alton is in hole number 3 with Davey Hyde there. He has one small fish and a lot of good info for us. In fact, all these anglers are so good about explaining what's happening with them on the water.
There's a good one. Came out from under that tree. Suspended. Decent keeper. Hopefully we'll get rid of him before the day's over. And he hit, what I was doing is something I really love to do on wood, is that swim this 7-inch. It's a young ribbon-tailed worm, and I watched him come out there and eat it. Watched him, and you got to be careful when you see him bite it like that. The tendency is to pull it away from him before they get it, but you got to just be patient, reel down, and make sure you feel him. Make sure he's got it good, and then let him have it.
You hear these guys talk about fish being suspended. Well, for some reason or another, fish sometimes really like to just hang around the brush or some kind of cover, as opposed to getting right in the middle of it or laying on the bottom, maybe. If you're tuned into this, and here we are back on these patterns again. If you're tuned in, you can get ready for it. And quite honestly, they're easy to catch when this is their pattern.
Over now to Brian Snowden, like Stacy King. He's from the Springfield, Missouri, Table Rock Lake area. Even dresses a little bit like him today.
Wow.
Yeah. Brian Snowden won our big bass of second day's competition here, 4 pounds and 12 ounces.
Finally. Well, if I caught 2 keepers out of the first hole, 2 keepers out of the second hole, that means I'm going to catch at least 2 out of this next hole.
If and only if you're Gary Klein can you get away with counting your chicken before they have hatched. In fact, Gary and others will start culling fish in the next hole. The Elite 50 of the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail presented by Busch. This is our second event of this 4-event series here on the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway here in the state of Mississippi. 12 anglers on the course in this third day of competition, led right now by Stacy King. We're going to cull this field down to 6 for tomorrow's championship. Gary Klein has 4 fish, and his technique is flipping.
Yeah, that's one thing about this technique is that this is something I've done all my life. Flipping shallow water cover, heavy line, little condensed baits that'll penetrate this stuff. And here it is a few years later, and I'm just as excited about fishing this technique as I was when I was 15 years old. It's just the anticipation. You never know with each drop, how big is it going to be or what species it's going to be. You just always usually get some kind of activity. Man, I don't have the slightest idea what that was, but I thought that right there was going to be a big girl. May have been a bass, but chances are Normally the bass don't miss it. They don't miss it very often. They're good hunters.
Gary Klein from Weatherford, Texas, certainly the master of flipping. In fact, won his last tournament with the Bassmasters, definitely with the flipping stick in his hand, fishing that very, very thick, dormant grass on Lake Seminole down in Georgia.
He's won every tournament that I've ever seen him win flipping. He's just great at it. You know, they talk about Denny Brower and Tommy Bifflin, and obviously they're very good, but boy, Gary fits right in there.
Back to Brian Snowden.
And Brian Snowden plays his fish a little different than Gary Klein, doesn't he?
He's a quiet guy, and he keeps his fish kind of quiet. Maybe he's one of these old school guys that doesn't want to let anybody see him catch a fish.
Maybe so. Boy, Gary Klein would have already been introducing that one to the live well. But this is good. This is a very good technique. I've seen several guys that are careful like that. There we go. Brian Snowden has shown us how to land fish carefully, isn't he? And as we start round number 3, Brian takes his 3 keepers into hole number 3, so we have wild 3s right now. Boy, Stacy King had a great hole number 4, caught 3 keepers there. He has to move on to 5 now. Gary Klein is also in 5, and matter of fact, Gary's about to start culling.
Well, let's ask Gary a couple of questions here. I wanted to ask you first, Gary, are you doing anything other than flipping?
That's all I'm doing. You know, every fish I've caught in this competition has been with 1 rod, 1 bait, half-ounce penetrator weight, and I'm just trying to fish the thickest shoreline cover that I can find. And it's all vegetation, floating hyacinths, the waterweed, anything that's real thick that's got a little bit of water depth around it's what I've been trying to fish.
Well, I know you've been trying, and you're succeeding at keeping your bait in front of the fish for as long a time as possible, and this has to be the technique that works best for that.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you, just to explain for us what flipping means. Let's assume the viewer has never even seen the word before.
Well, flipping is nothing but just an underhand presentation of a lure, just like that. You know, just an easy swing. It allows you pinpoint accuracy, heavy line, long rod for leverage to handle the fish once it's hooked. But the way I'm flipping is no different than somebody going down the bank making a lot of casts with a spinnerbait covering the water. I'm just choosing to use the flipping technique, run the water quick, and just keep putting the bait where I think the fish are. I don't feel these fish are very active. I don't feel they're traveling to get to your lure. I feel I have to drop it right on their nose to get them to bite. So this is all I've been focusing on so far.
Well, we're watching your bait, and you get it in and out of the water really fast. So I assume when you find a fish home, so to speak, he jumps on it really quickly. So I guess that means you have to stay on top of your business.
Exactly. The hits come real quick. Every hit I've had in competition has been on the initial fall, and you know, why waste time working it back out? So I'm just trying to cover the water the best I know how.
And I'm sitting here watching his hands and his equipment, and man, is he smooth. Putting himself in awful good position here in the Columbus pool as well.
That right there will call a fish.
I caught a lot of my fish in a foot of water or less in the tournament to qualify for in here. So now this is different in here. This water's clear, so you got to have some good thick overhead cover, like this grass right here up here. If it's got 3 foot on the outside edge and it goes real quick up into a foot, they'll get in there. But if it's sparse like this, it doesn't provide enough cover with the water being so clear. So. Oh my God, I forgot my line broke. Might have been a gar, I don't know.
Well, our top 12 are in here on the course trying to make points and advance to the finals. The rest of the Elite 50 are back out on the waterway fishing today, trying to make points as well. It's more like 16 days of fishing in a single tournament. That's what the Elite 50 is all about. We're on the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway, Columbus, Mississippi, just outside of town here at the Stennis Lock and Dam. Our 6-hole course for these anglers fishing the 3rd day of our Elite 50 event here. Of course, these anglers have not seen this course until today's competition. So as you can see, the process involves a lot of running around, looking for places to find the fish. Let's get out now to Davey Height.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, baby.
All right.
So if they're gonna move in and scatter out, I guess we're just gonna move in and scatter out with them. That's a good solid fish. That changes the complexion of things quite a bit.
Well, it hasn't changed the complexion of Davey Heights today enough, just yet anyway. As you can see on the leaderboard, he's still languishing there in 7th place. We're looking for the top 6 today. We do have 12 anglers out there, but only covering 7. So at this time, we don't know exactly what's going on with Tommy Biffle, Zell Rowland, Ben Matsubu, Dustin Wilkes, and John Murray, but we'll certainly find out by weigh-in time. Jerry, I know we've seen Kevin Van Dam using a crankbait, also Stacy a little bit, but you have taken the trouble to round up all our soft plastics.
We've got a lot of guys out there fishing with plastics, and I want to show you how they're rigged. First of all, every one of them are being rigged the old-fashioned way, should I say, the Texas rig. This is a little tube with a 2 or a 3/0 worm hook that's buried back in the rig that makes it weaveless. Now, this tungsten penetrator slip sinker really makes it a small slip sinker, allows it to penetrate through that grass real easy. This is Stacy King's rig. As a matter of fact, he has a Carolina rig stopper above the slip sinker that stops it right there in place, doesn't allow it to slip up and down the line. The last rigging is a brush hog. And again, these are 2 or 3/0 hooks and about a 1/2 ounce slip sinker. Now, everybody's not fishing with plastic. Matter of fact, several of our anglers out in Jones, we saw him earlier fishing with a jig. Gary Klein, you know, he's going to pick up a jig every now and then. Mark Davis right here is fishing with a jig. And I tell you what, the difference between a jig and a plastic worm is normally that a bigger fish will be attracted to the jig. And so that's why it has to stay in their arsenal.
Had to go right in the heart of the cover to get him. He was way back in the shade. That's number 5.
Mark Davis says the heart of the cover is the place, as does Stacy King.
Got him. Good one, too. Easy now. Just be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still now. Oh, I'm stuck. Come on. Be still. Just be real still. Golly, what a fight. Look at there, I got that dude. Can you believe that? I pitched that thing over that limb, and when it hit the water, he must have been laying right up there on top. He hit at it, he missed it, and I just dropped it back down, and he swallowed it. Whew, what a deal. What a deal. That's a good one, too. I'm shaking so bad, I can't hardly tie a knot. I'm an old sucker, and I've been doing this for a long time, but I still get excited every time.
We are getting down to the nitty-gritty, moving already into round number 5. We find Kevin Van Dam in hole number 5.
And again, this waterway is used by barges a lot. So we've seen large tie-ups and unusual retaining walls, and that's where Kevin is starting there in hole number 5, and you better look out.
There's a good one right there. Big fish. I made this mistake in practice to try to jerk one in the boat, and I'm not going to do that today. Oh, don't do that to me, baby. Oh. That's a good one right there. Stevie, the smack daddy.
Well, we've talked a lot about grass, and I've seen the better fish come from laydowns, and now maybe even the best fish of the day off of a retaining wall. You know what? Kevin Van Dam may be with us for the finals next week.
If I'd caught all the bites I've had, I'd have had one heck of a day.
Well, he's had a great day anyway, and just ahead, Mark Davis is about to improve his situation.
fishing continues here in Mississippi. Kevin Van Dam on top of the leaderboard for now. King and Davis in pursuit. Snowden, Height, and Jones have some work to do. Let's check on Mark Davis.
I don't like this at all. I don't like the looks of it. It's too clear. And I'm not going to stay here.
You ain't putting up with it, are you?
I ain't going to put up with it. It may be the best place on the whole course, but I don't like it.
Well, he can't move from his hole, but the holes are large enough, and he can find him another spot.
And let's just see what happens when his instincts tell him to move.
Whoo, son, stay on. Been looking for that one all day. Come here, boy. Come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here. Oh, mercy. Whew. That'll help. Whew.
Well, the little bird that whispered in Mark Davis's ears didn't lead him wrong. Mark's really good about making the right moves, isn't he? And here comes Davey Height, bumping that crankbait into some logs.
I said that was a perfect log. It just took forever. Whew, that helps things quite a bit there. He just didn't want no worm.
Davey, things are looking up for you now. And I bet you for our viewers, it looks like you're fishing on a lake when in fact you are on a river with current. And I want to know how important it is that that current is moving.
Oh, it's everything, Jerry. It really is. These fish, you know, when I was fishing over in the other creek in the 2 qualifying rounds, you know, it's like you catch a fish on every piece of cover when that water's moving, especially if it's moving strong going out. But then when it stops, it's like it's the Dead Sea, and it just means everything. But the water's moving in here right now. I'd rather it be going out, but at least it's moving.
Okay, but what do you do when the current is just flat? It's just really dead.
Nothing you can do but pray. You know, and just that's the hard part, to stay focused and just be ready to really fish well when the water starts moving, and try to catch a fish or two when it's not moving. But it's really tough. And, you know, with us moving the course, you might not be in your best water when it does start moving. So that's just the luck of the draw, so to speak, I guess. But you got to take advantage of every opportunity you get.
Okay, you qualified pretty high, so you get a good pick when it comes to choosing which hole you start in. Did you make a good choice?
Yeah, I sure did, Jerry. You know, it was all speculation because I've never fished here. We just rode around and looked, but I got to start where I wanted to, so I got no excuses if I don't do well today.
Oh, my gosh. Whoo, Lord, stay on, please.
Mark Davis sounds like he's got a really good one on. Take a look at the leaderboard there. Kevin Van Dam on top, Stacy King behind him.
Mercy.
All they're trying to do is make it to the top 6, the 6 who will fish the championships to win this event in the Elite 50 series. But catching fish, doing well every day, is an important part of the equation in this series.
Absolutely, because they will carry their weight into the final day. You know, they qualified. Mark Davis in particular had a lot of weight during qualifying, and he lost that, but they will not lose what they catch today, so this is important.
I like slimy lips. Whew.
Well, Gary Klein on the first day of this tournament said he was absolutely sticking with his strength. His strength is flipping, but we haven't seen him catch any big fish yet.
You know what? Every fish we've seen Gary catch have been out of the grass. Every good fish that we've seen Mark Davis catch has been around some wood and in a little bit of depth. So maybe the bigger fish are a little bit deeper, and Gary just hasn't figured that out yet. He will, though.
A little bit better, huh? And that one there, I was expecting a 5-pounder to blow out of those weeds, but yeah, I'm not complaining. Good quality fish. Hopefully that fish right there will put me in the cut and give me a good opportunity to, you know, try to win this thing. And, you know, I've got the rest of this hole and another hole, so, you know, if I can get one more key bite like that, I might be able to at least stay in contention.
Well, Kevin Van Dam is definitely in contention, but you know also he wants to beef up his total because, again, as we mentioned before, you carry that weight over to the final day.
Oh,
Man, that was a good one.
Oh, Kevin Van Dam, he needed that fish. But boy, some other guys could have used it more, like Davey Hyde, Alton Jones, Brian Snowden. The last round is coming up.
The 6-hole course for the Citgo Bassmaster Elite 50 on the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway was designed to test the fishing skills of the final 12 anglers. But before that course was set, the same area was designed to test the skills of a completely different kind of boater. We'll tell you more when we return. The 6-hole course set aside for the semifinal round of the Citgo Bassmaster Elite 50 is no stranger to testing boaters. Some of the more productive areas along the old Tombigbee River channel were around pilings that were used to tie up barges during test runs for students at East Mississippi Community College learning to be deckhands in the barge industry. From 1981 to 1988, this same area was the only on-the-water classroom for deckhands in the United States.
Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail presented by Busch Beer. This is the Elite 50 Series, our 4-tournament series. This is event number 2 of the Tennessee Tombigbee Waterway. Third day action going on today. 12 anglers out there fishing, trying to make the cut to 6, who will fish on the final day on our 6-hole course here. Take a look at the leaderboard. Man, star-studded. Mark Davis with the 2-pound lead on Kevin Van Dam. Of course, we say we have 12 anglers out there today. Today, we're only bringing you coverage of 7 of them, so we'll pick up the other 5 come weigh-in time. And Jerry McKinnis, it's hard to tell with 1 period of fishing remaining, but it looks like the cut's going to be somewhere around 10 pounds.
Well, if that's right, I know 3 guys that are in a little bit of trouble. One of them is Brian Snowden over there in hole number 6, which is the least productive hole on the whole course. There's only been 5 fish caught there. Another one is Davey Hyde over in 1, the second least productive hole on the course. There's been 6 fish caught there. Alton Jones is also in number 1. However, things are looking up for Alton because he's probably over the 9-pound weight at this time. He has just caught a dandy spotted bass.
And I don't even have to wonder if I can call with that one. I can just pull that and put him over here on the big side. Pull that blue guy out. Tell him bye-bye. Okay, fish.
Okay, a big high five from Alton Jones as he gets a little closer to 10 pounds. And Davey Hyde, boy, he needs 1 more quality fish, or at least we think so, to make it to the finals. And he's trying to find that fish around the weigh-in area there in hole number 1, and that will help. But
I think
our unofficial number still shows him short of 10 pounds.
Well, Davey needs 1 more. Alton, though, got the big boost from that last fish. And, Alton, I have to ask you, have there been for you any surprises today on the course?
Well, not really, other than the bite seems to be a little bit better in here. It's completely different than the water that I've been fishing. Where I've been fishing has been totally muddy, and this is real clean water. There's a lot more vegetation in the form of water willow and just shore grass that has enough depth on it for fish in it. Where I've been fishing all week, it's been primarily wood, so this is kind of a nice change.
Alton, when we watch you guys fish one of these courses, there emerges 2 different styles of fishing. One seems to be the hit and run, where you go and hit as many spots within the hole as you can that look good to you, or you find one spot that looks really good and really just work it over. Which one seems to work the best for you?
Well, I'm in the fish it pretty fast. Every bite I'm getting is you throw it in and he eats it on the way down. And I'm throwing pretty well power baits. I'm fishing a yum worm and a booyah jig. And my goal is, if I look at a spot and it doesn't look like it has 4-pound potential, I don't throw at it, because I think to win a championship here this week, you're going to have to get a 4-pound plus fish each day. So I'm fishing for that 1 bite, and hopefully I'll get a limit along the way. And I haven't had that bite yet. I just caught a 3-pounder, and I lost a 3-pounder earlier, so there are some quality fish that'll bite you fishing fast.
What depth are you getting most of your strikes in?
The fish are in 2 to 5 feet of water, and if you can find a big laydown or something suspended where it's on the top over about 5 or 6 feet of water, you can swim the worm down the edge of it, and the fish are about a foot deep below that wood cover.
Well, Alton, let me ask you one more question. We'll let you go. It's kind of a funny question. We know that when you guys get into a hole, you've got to go around and catch as many fish as possible. Obviously, you have to have enough poundage to make it to the finals, but don't you also have to spend a little time looking around, prospecting, finding some fish to fish for the finals?
That's right, and that's part of the other reason for my fishing so fast today is I really want to get a feel for each of these holes. And should I be fortunate enough to make the cut tomorrow, maybe know where to spend a little bit more of my time. I mean, I've certainly fished through what I consider some dead water and some I got one right there, it's a little one. But I fished through some places that I will not return to tomorrow, and I fished through some areas that I know good and well I want to fish again. Now, is that a bass up there? There goes a big fish right there. What is that? That's a big carp.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to go way out on the limb and say that Mark Davis, who's just put another one in the boat, I'm going to say that he will be with us again next Saturday in the finals. In fact, he's kind of starting to pile it on right now.
I believe there are some right in this shade. Man, look at that humpback rascal.
Well, Mark Davis prospers as he has prospered all week, every day. And Brian Snowden, who's had such a great week himself, continues to look for the fish, the one that might get him over the hump on this third competition day. Davey Height sits in the same boat, so to speak, as Snowden, and 10 pounds is just the magic weight that we have picked. We could be wrong, but that's what we guess will put you into the finals.
Well, Allen has come on strong in a hole that I've said earlier is not very sterling, and this fish will add a few ounces to his total.
Something moved right here.
Well, Kevin Van Dam has quietly had a very good day. He is right on Mark Davis's tail, which will make a big difference when we get down to the final 6 for next week. And we are pretty confident that old KVD will be one of them.
Now, you talk about why these best pros are these best pros. And we've slowed down one of Kevin's casts so you can see just how efficient and accurate he is. How about that cast? Now, here's the real thing. And what that cast produced. And I know we've done it backwards here, but I wanted you to see the cast before the results. That's why these guys are elite.
With that, our fishing day is done on this third day of competition. Mark Davis, Kevin Van Dam on top. They're a lock to make the final 6, but Davey Height, Brian Snowden, Gary Klein, Alton Jones all bunched up there around the cut line. Who's going to make the final 6? Well, the weigh-in is coming up.
Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo. And in part by Busch Light. By Purelator. And by Motor Guy.
We're back in Columbus, Mississippi, and ready to go with the weigh-in in our second event on the Elite 50 series.
Here he comes, Kevin Van Dam. Oh, I like what I see.
Yeah, I had a decent day.
You had a huge day. He needs 12-12 to walk in the lead. 14 pounds, 7 ounces. Van Dam takes it over.
Kevin Van Dam moved up in the standings, a big fish and a 14-pound, 7-ounce stringer with the 2001 Classic champ in contention.
This is Alton Jones. And we're going to get a weight for Alton Jones. 5 bass, a whoop, 10 pounds, 14 ounces, 10-14. Will get you really close to the top 6.
Well, I hope so. You know, I don't know. I'm going to have to sit here and bite my fingernails. I'd like to fish again tomorrow. It was a lot of fun. Caught lots of bass out there. And, you know, whether you're fishing for money or not, everybody likes to go out and just get a lot of bites and catch a lot of fish.
Alton Jones started the catching early, wound up with 10 pounds, 14 ounces to secure a slot in the final 6.
This is Brian Snowden. You need 10 pounds to make the cut and change. Watch it. Come on. Ooh, 8 pounds, 15 ounces, 8-15.
Brian Snowden, he caught the big fish on day 2 to make the first cut. Couldn't make the second cut with only 8 pounds, 15 ounces today.
This is Davey Height. Ooh, this looks good.
I don't know, fish.
He needs 10 pounds, 7 ounces. He says no. Watch him. 9 pounds, 3 ounces.
Davey Height qualified in second place after 2 days, but a 9-pound, 3-ounce catch on the 6-hole course just wouldn't get it done for the most improved angler of 2004.
Give it up for your 2-day leader, Mark Davis. Looking good.
Looking good, fish.
To the scales we go. He needs about 14 pounds to take the lead. Weight 16 pounds. Davis.
Now your day 1 leader and day 2 leader moves to a new fishing course and leads the pack again for the 3rd straight day. Rounding out the top 6, Stacy King, Dustin Wilkes, and Gary Klein.
There you go. Our field is set. The 6 anglers who will fish for the championship are in there. Some big names at the top. Mark Davis, Kevin Van Dam. The course was tough, but the big guys knew how to figure it out.
I've got some interesting stats for you, right?
Lay it on us.
The best holes on the course, 2, 3, and 4. 8 keepers came from 2, 12 keepers from 3, and 14 from hole number 4. But here's the interesting thing. The period that was the best during the day was number 2, which is 11:40 to 1 o'clock. That's almost the middle. It is the middle of the day. And there were 13 keepers caught during that time. Okay, the worst period was period number 5, and that's 3:40 to 5. Now, you'd think that would be a great period, but there were only 3 keepers caught during that period.
Most people would have guessed just the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely.
They would have flip-flopped them around. Well, let's take a look at our Pure Later Big Bass so far this week. It's Kevin Van Dam's big one for today, 5 pounds and 7 ounces. Of course, we have one more day of fishing. As far as the bush shootout, well, no limits from this particular tournament are entered yet, so that one stays as it is. Our big finals coming up next week, same time. We hope you're there for it.
I've been doing this for a long time, but I still get excited every time.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to Bassmaster.com.
That was like a 7-pounder. I saw him bowl at it and just missed him. He barely got the tail.